by the stations of KUAM.
You're watching Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. Exciting. We're playing ball tonight. Yes, we're out on the ball field tonight. We have, of course, Senator Tommy Morrison. Sorry, I'm mistaking you for Tony, your brother, right? Tommy Morrison, of course, a name synonymous with baseball. Willie Brennan, not only baseball, but also Guam Police Department, and now G4S. Gentlemen, you know, I had to ask you guys to come on because not a baseball player, but former athlete. But I know what destruction looks like, you know, regardless of whether you have a lot of knowledge of something or not. And you came out with Bill, of course, 120-33 as a result of actually a very successful concert. Not to say that we're not in agreement of that, but I saw, again, in my point of view, some disregard, again, to what was there as a baseball field. And great kudos to GVB, they get a great event and always have successful events. But the people who were ill-served after that is the baseball community and whose season just started. And the Paseo Stadium is one of probably a few public facilities that's probably the best maintained at this point. And now, I don't know when the baseball teams are going to be able to play in those fields. 120.
Well, thank you, Senator, for allowing us to be on your show. First off, just a little history on Paseo Stadium. It was built for baseball. I mean, during the late 70s, there was a growing popularity with baseball, with the Guam Major Leagues and youth baseball leagues, and it led to a demand for a new facility. And during that time, I mean, upgrades were made to the facility to what you see today. There was about $1.2 million put into building the stadium and designing it for baseball at that time. In the past decade, we've invested over about $1.2 million again to upgrade the lights, the field play.
Continuous upgrade, yeah.
Continuous upgrades. But what's always been the missing piece there is more stricter use policies. I've tried to do this even as a former director of Parks and Recreation, but there was always challenges to get through that with not only these other activities that go into play, but also even the sports community. So what I'm trying to do with Bill 120 is that our community, the users of the field, that would respect and use it as a guide to how we go forward using the facility, protecting that investment. That's always the challenge. Putting millions of dollars into this sometimes it won't last too long because of the constant use, the constant abuse, and there's no user policies, plans in place for that can prevent the adverse impacts of the facility.
And even as we speak to this, and really jump in at any time, please, with this, because even if we just said we can multi-use that field for other sports. It wasn't designed for that. I mean, it's not designed for football, rugby, or soccer at this point. So you really can't have it. I mean, in order for you to do that, you have to change you have to reconceptualize Paseo Stadium to be a multi-purpose or multi-sport event facility. Let alone, if that's going to be the case, and you're going to spread that even more to be a multi-facet facility that you can house not only, again, multi-sports in there, but again, as concerts, again, these big monster truck events as we see in stadium across the United States. But not only that, it is a facility designed for that with the expertise to be able to get, again, those field to, again, either a baseball field or tomorrow night a football field or a rugby event, a soccer event, and again a concert. And you could have 3 or 4 different things in 1 week, but you have to have a constant crew, right?
And I think, Jess, the main thing that we have to look at is when the field was designed, it was designed for baseball. And it didn't say Guam Major League, it didn't say Little League, it didn't say Babe Ruth, it was designed for baseball. They could adjust, they could change the dimensions of the field to accommodate the kids, the Little League, the Babe Ruth, and also all that. But it was just baseball. Because it was designed just for baseball, the transition from baseball to any other sport or any other event was never considered in the design. if that's going to happen, would happen in the future, which I think is something that is very, very good to have there, because real estate is so valuable, and right there's a huge place to hold venue for all these events. Then design it that way and include all your transitions that have to take place, the repairs after you do the setup and all that, but put mechanism in place to ensure that the promoter, the production staff, everybody that goes into it, the sponsors, say, okay, now we got to leave it in the condition it was before.
Absolutely.
And we have a timeline.
Like it never happened.
That's right. And we have a timeline. And if you have to incorporate that into user fee, then incorporate that into the user fee.
And most of the time, it's incorporated into that.
That's right.
I mean, and the promoter of whatever event pays for that, pays for that cost.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And you know, and I was, you know, again, until we spoke on this, right, in regards to other uses or limited uses of that, I was critical of that and said, well, you know, Senator Morrison went to the extremes. But you needed to go to the extremes to get that conversation, because now you got people sitting on the table to do that. And sometimes you have to kind of take that mile, you know, it's a half-mile run, but you're taking that mile, so you can do that and maybe come to a happy medium. And again, if it's going to be transposed into a multi-facet facility, maybe that's what you're going to get.
And that's what's happening right now. Bill 120, as you stated, it is the extreme, because it focuses primarily on just sporting events. But one thing I can say is, historically, all my bills have been tweaked. They found compromise at the end. And our goal is to bring all stakeholders, the baseball community, importantly the sports community, these other activities that wish to hold major events in there, and seek a solution going forward. One of the discussions already, as Willie has brought up, is some of the reconfiguration of the field. At least right now, we know Festback's right around the corner. And talking with the governor and saying, you know, most major events even in the mainland, a lot of these heavy equipment, a lot of these things are transported through the center field area. Right now, the way Paseo is designed, you got to come smack through the field. Sure. And because like it's designed right now, I mean, they're from the corners, and so these equipments have no choice but to go through the middle. So just a little tweaking to the configuration of the facility can be a major solution. But even at that, even when we put this investment going forward, we still have to have this user policy in place.
No, absolutely. So, and I understand in the promoter's point of view, in this sense, you can contain your people. You know, you have that the fencing around. Right. You know, you can contain them. I can understand that. But again, understanding that, the promoters also have to understand what that field is for. As I said, it was built for a baseball, and you know, again, over the years of renovations, again, whether it's mid-season, whether it's beginning of the season, or the end of the season, you know, a lot of times baseball community have to suffer because, you know, it's never built on time and all that. We'll have to go elsewhere. So now something like this, there's no timeline on when the field will be rehabilitated and whether or not the teams will be able to play this season, the rest of the summer. Baseball, a summertime sport. We do it. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Willie, I want to ask you again in the reconceptualizing of Paseo Stadium and whether or not